welcome to the Everyday Romantic. I'm Tammy Gibbs, and today I am going to be talking to you about creating a romantic movie night for two. We're going to be using a cozy pop-up canopy date night plan and showing you how to set it all up. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's talk about what you're going to need. Okay, so I have another video on the channel that is creating a romantic oasis. So if you haven't seen that one, be sure and put it on your to watch list because we're going to be using the same basic concept. Okay. Hi, welcome to the Everyday Romantic. I'm Tammy Gibbs, and my husband and I are on a mission to help other couples like us, whether you've been married for many years or a few years and you're maybe dating, or even if you are just planning for when you are dating and you want to be able to inject more romance into your everyday, this channel's for you, and we want to help you. So we're on a mission and we want to help couples reconnect. So anyway, let's get started. Today we're going to be talking all about creating a romantic movie night for two. We're going to be doing that by using something that a lot of us have already around the house, and I'm going to show you why you might want to invest in this for your romantic survival kit. Anyway, we're going to be using a cozy pop-up canopy, and I have a whole DIY setup video here to give you ideas on how you can set it up to make your own backyard a destination where you don't even have to leave home, and you can inject lots of romance that way. So anyway, we're going to jump into the video, but also I wanted to make you aware of another video I did on creating a romantic oasis. It kind of goes hand in hand with this one because we also use a pop-up canopy or tent, and there are a lot of base ideas that you can get off of that video too, so be sure and put that on your list, and be sure and subscribe to the channel because we've got much more. We're in the very beginning stages of the channel, and so this is one of our first couple of videos, but we've got plenty planned for you guys and lots of great information. So anyway, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about what you'll need. So obviously you're going to need one of those little pop-up canopies. Most of this is designed around about a 10 by 10 design. You don't need a really big one. If you have a little bit bigger one, that's okay. You may have to adapt some of the suggestions, a little bit more materials and stuff, but that's okay too. So you're going to need maybe some string lights, and all of these things are just ideas. So if you don't have the string lights, you can use other things, but anyway, so these are some of the things that you can incorporate, and I'm going to be showing you how to use them. So base setup, we got pop-up canopy, string lights, some outdoor rugs, or even regular rugs are fine, and we talk about layering them and everything in a little while. But anyway, soft lighting, you want a power source, and an outdoor rated extension cord. Okay, so for our movie setup, you're going to need a small smart projector. That's what I feel like most of us in an everyday situation are not going to need anything super big. You can get these for sometimes under $100, but I think as far as investments go, these things would offer so many different possibilities across a lot of different things, especially if you have kids. But anyway, so you're going to need a small smart projector. Now, these smart projectors, look for one that strings directly from like apps. Like you can find Roku ones that have like the Roku. So if you're already set up with Roku, then you can just kind of log in to your thing, and you can already have all your favorite channels and stuff like that on there. And so you want it to be able to stream from the apps so that you don't need a laptop, because that's just more stuff outside, and laptop and outside has to be very carefully done because you don't want to mess up your laptop. But anyway, so look for a smart projector. Now, if you already have some of those bulkier projectors and you want to use them, that's all good. But anyway, and then you may want to consider getting a one of those the little speakers, the little wireless speakers, if you may need that. So depending on the particular projector that you get. And then you're going to want something to project onto. So either a projector screen, they're not that expensive. You have them that come with the stand, some that come without. In a pinch, you can either use like one of the sidewalls of the tent. In some circumstances, you're going to have like a white and you won't even need to hang a screen. I'm showing you how you can later in the video. But lots of options there. If you have a fence, you can throw a sheet, against the fence panels. And so there's a lot of ways you can do that without actually having to have a screen. But if you have one and you have the little stand, then you can, that makes it a little bit more portable and you can move it around. And then, of course, your movie night details, pillows, blankets, popcorn, snacks, lanterns, candles. Now, I suggest not using real flame because that's just too dangerous out in an outdoor environment. So you can get the little flameless candles, the little LED ones. Some of them flicker. Those are just better and safer. And then, of course, rugs in layers for comfort, and then like a tray or a table for snacks, that sort of thing. So okay, so you're going to choose your Canopy side style. Now, depending on what you have at home, and in the other video, I show you how to even work with a canopy that maybe you've taken to the beach, you've used it a lot, and it's a little grungy. So be sure and watch the video for the Romantic Oasis. I give you tips on how to take care of that problem and still use one of the canopies that maybe doesn't look quite as fancy or as good as it did when it was brand new. If you're investing, then you can find a 10 by 10 very reasonably priced that actually comes with the sidewalls. A lot of them have really cute little windows and things on the sides. Those are really good, a great investment, because then you do not have to work quite so hard to get that atmosphere. You can layer in some curtains or some sheets or shears, and you can make that look really cool. It also blocks wind and helps keep heat in if you're doing it like in the fall or the early spring when it gets a little cooler in the evenings. And then you can also use just shears if you just want to do the open. You can create, use some shears on the corners, and just tie them back and leave it all open. So you just have to choose which way you want to do to set your mood, okay? And always remember that your best viewing setup is going to be setting up the projector kind of behind you and up high enough so that when you're sitting down, it can still project without it hitting the back of your head. All right, so our next step, once we get our tent set up, and you want to set that up safely with your normal procedure, how to, stake it down and everything, follow your directions. But once you get that up, the next step is actually not your sidewalls or your curtains or your fabric. Anyway, the next step is actually going to be creating your floor. So we want to start always with a tarp or a moisture barrier of some sort of plastic sheeting or something like that on the ground so that none of the ground moisture can penetrate up and ruin any of your rugs or your comforters or any of that stuff. And then I always suggest another layer, and this is a great investment. You can usually get them for under $20, but the big painters canvases material, most of the time they have little grommets that you can actually even stake down into the ground to kind of keep everything firm, and so it's not sliding around on top of the tarp. And then of course you're going to layer rugs and quilts or blankets. Be sure that you don't put comforters. You can use them if you're going to be lying on them, but as far as if it's going to be a space that you're going to be walking on, either a quilt or a bedspread is going to be a better bet if you're going to use that as one of your layering things. just for walking on it and it being easier to walk on. We don't want to cause anyone to fall. So always use your best safety techniques, in there. You want to be safe. Okay, so you're also going to, with this particular one, you're going to be centering a seating zone. So you may be lounging a little bit more with this one, watching a movie and everything. So you may want to build up almost like using an air mattress in the center and then building everything on top of it, or layering several comforters to kind of create almost like a bed with a propping space in the back of it. So that you can easily kind of lie there or lounge and watch the movie together. So you want to position the pillows and blankets so that you're both comfortable and you have a clear view of the screen. And then, of course, you're going to want to keep your snacks and drinks within reach. You can use a low tray, a crate, something like that. You can use a crate and then put a little low tray over it and everything. So this is, the floor lounge is a several step layering process there. Okay, so now let's talk about where you're going to put your screen. So there's actually two different places. You can actually use it at the closed end. So either you're going to hang your screen, or set it on your stand at the very end of the inside of the tent or canopy. So you can do it like this. You can put fabric behind it, and then you're going to position your projector at the back. Okay, so there's this way, and then this is showing the side view and how you would kind of sit, and it's over your head. This is the screen here, top view showing your seating area. So you want to, this is better for smaller spaces. You can keep everything cozy inside. You can use the sidewall if you already have a back that is solid white that comes with your tent. You can actually project onto that as long as it's clean. You can also use a white sheet that you clip across the back. You just have to make sure that it is clipped where it's straight across and there's no wrinkles. Or you can stand your screen up on a stand, or you can hook a screen to the top lip and then just make sure that you it doesn't flap in the wind. So you'd want to like cord it down to the legs or whatever here. And then, of course, you want to place your smart projector above, just behind the seating. And then this helps to prevent shadows and keeps the view clear. Okay? All right, now, if you're going to use layout 2, that means you're going to put the screen outside the entrance, which means that you can put it farther out so that you can, if the throw distance from your projector is too short, then, it may not be, the viewing, maybe not onto the screen, may not be what you want it to be. So you want to put the screen out farther so that it has a farther throw distance, and maybe your screen is bigger. So if that's the effect you want, you would set it outside the tent. Of course, you wouldn't have anything behind it, and it would be in front of you however far you wanted to make it. Almost more like a drive-in movie theater kind of thing. So make sure your seating is going to face, obviously, the screen, and make sure that your projector is either going to be up high like this, or we're going to have a couple of different ways that you can set that up as well. Make sure that the projector is mounted above and behind. That's what we were just talking about up here. And then this screen sits outside the canopy for more projector distance. You get bigger, clearer image, and the canopy stays your cozy lounge. The projector is above and behind the seating, out of the way. And you need to test your throw distance and image size before you decorate. So therefore, if you need to move it or change up that plan, you can. Center the projector with the middle of the screen and run cords safely along the edge. Now, here are some Again, we've already mentioned most of these, but here are some simple screen options. Lightweight projector screen, they're inexpensive, using the sidewall or closed panels. Make sure that you keep your screen smooth, light colored, and pull tight for the clearest picture. And then, of course, a white sheet, you can pull it taut and then tie it to the legs, and you can use that if you know, that's budget friendly. Most people have a white flat sheet. Freestanding screen or fence mounted screen. You know, you can set your tent up so that you're using a fence, like a 6-foot fence if you want to. Okay, so projector setups, we're going to kind of backtrack a little bit with those. So there's a couple of different ways. If you're doing inside the tent, then a lot of times you can. Now, more than likely you would want to center it here, but depending on your projector, you could potentially offset it here. But you still want to make sure that it is up high, or that you can raise the projector itself on top of your table to throw onto the screen that you have set up. So still needs to be behind you. And this is the one that we talked about. This is a really cool little setup. You've probably seen these little open-ended baskets that are like a little shelf that you put under a shelf, to add like space. It's like open-ended on one end, but it makes like a little shelf. Those are inexpensive little hanging shelves that you could attach onto the actual hardware of the tent up high, and then secure that with some wire ties and maybe bungees to make sure it doesn't slip and fall. You want to make sure that you definitely secure it, and then keep airflow open, which is why the little basket thing works well. Most of them don't have wood here. Most of the time this basket is going to be wire. So those little inexpensive ones can work really well. Check your stability. Okay, so now we're going to choose our seating. There's several different things that you can do. You can create a floor lounge. Now with this, you may want to get like a blow-up air mattress and then lay your comforters and things on top of it. And then you may want to combine the weighted bolster or the plywood back support. And we're going to go through each one of these. You can also use your little padded stadium chairs, depending on how close you want to sit and kind of how you want to do it. You can use low folding chairs. You can use a wicker or patio love seat. You can also, if you have them or you care to invest in them, you can get these little beanbag sofas, or either set two beanbags, regular beanbags, beside each other. So there's several different ways that you can seat. Okay, so how the back support works. Okay, so the screen's going to be at one end. Your back support is going to be behind the pillows, and it's going to help keep the support low and wide. You want to allow space for legs and snacks, and you want to test your comfort before the movie night. So this is a side view. You got the projector down here or up here, and then you're going to have the people sitting. And this is a sideways view, actually. They would actually be sitting this way, but then you wouldn't be able to see them. And then it's going to project onto the projector. So like this, more like this. This is the top view. So they're sitting here. Your projector's at the end, and this illustration is actually wrong. It would be here instead. So I apologize for that. I didn't catch that mistake when I was doing my illustrations. Okay, so the bolster back support. You're going to roll a comforter or thick quilt tightly. You can actually take bed pillows and put in the center and then wrap the comforter around it, and then you tie them with ribbons. Now this step-by-step is in the Romantic Oasis video, so if you want more step-by-step on exactly how to do that, then you can watch that video. It's in there. Set pillows in front of the in front of the bolster for lumbar support. You can add a shared throw for extra comfort, and this is a no build, very easy. Most of the time you have these things sitting around and it just creates a little heavier something to kind of lean against. This is the back view, and this is the side view showing kind of how that can work. It creates a comfortable backrest and supports your lower back, helps you sit up straighter, and works with any seating setup. Quick, cozy, very budget friendly. Okay, now then and this is one of those things that you can actually have around. It doesn't take a lot to store it because we're going to be using bolts, washers, and a nut to build it. So you can actually take it apart and then put it back to reassemble it when you're going to use it. So this is also a lower budget, but a very handy thing to happen if you plan on doing some evenings like this. And this is one of those things that you could pull out and use just any time. You don't have to do it one time and forget it, because there are going to be a lot of different. You can use this particular support in the Romantic Oasis. You can use it with the movie night, and there are going to be some other ways that you can use it as well in future videos. So anyway, these little L brackets, you're going to use those. You're going to cut 2 plywood panels that are 4 foot by 8 foot, and you're going to basically just cut them in half. So they'll be 2 foot by 8 foot. And then you're going to attach the longer shelf brackets. I have a step by step, but anyway, you're going to be attaching and making this little thing that you're basically going to be sitting on, and that's going to help you support yourself. And then inside, you're going to use the bolster or pillows, comforter, all those things. Okay, so here's our illustration. So basically, you're going to use a 4 foot by 8 foot piece cut horizontally to create 2 panels, 2 foot by 8 foot. And then you're going to use the L-shaped brackets. Now, these will be a little taller than the illustration. This is a little more true. Now, this shows where you can inset it. You can do that if you want to, or to have a little bit more under the sitting part of it. I would back it up and have the L start at the very back here, personally, with mine. And then it shows you how you would use bolt. You would drill a hole, and then you would run the bolt through. This makes it where you can assemble and unassemble it and store it more easily. But then it's going to basically create like a bench that sits on the ground, that just this little piece right here. Now, mind you that this illustration shows it a little thicker than it actually is. We're talking about a piece of plywood, so we're not really this is not as, this shows about like maybe a 2-inch, and we're probably going to be using like a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, so it's going to be much thinner than what it does, but it's easier to illustrate with the boards that are thicker like this. And then you're just going to have this, and then that's what you're going to use as your base. You throw a comforter over the top of it, and then put your bolster, pillow, or other pillows on it. You can even put, if you're using a blow-up air mattress, you can put that on top of it and still have help with your back support. Okay, so now we're into choosing our snack mood. So these are 4 different particular moods that you could choose, and then your decor and your snacks and everything set kind of a different mood based on how you want it. So you can do classic movie theater, where you've got the theater candy, your soft drinks, your popcorn. You can do Bohemian Oasis, where you've got cheeses and fruit and your favorite beverage and layered textures. You can do a romantic picnic, where you've got finger food, charcuterie, dessert, and pretty glasses. You can do movie-inspired themes. So let's just say you're doing an Italian-based romantic movie, then you can set everything up with snacks based on that particular movie theme. Or if you're doing jungle theme, you could just do whatever movie inspired theme, and then your snacks and styling are based on the chosen movie theme. So pick the vibe you want for your night, gather your snacks and styling that match, and arrange within reach so you can relax and enjoy the show. Alright, so these are some ideas on how to set the mood before you press play. So a little anticipation makes the night feel very special. So choose the movie ahead of time. Pick something you both will love and get excited for. So one of the things that I think is important is, like, for instance, we think, oh, romantic movie, and think that it sets either, romantic comedy or, a serious drama that's romantic. But your vibe may be an action thriller. Anything that you both enjoy, a lot of those have like a little romantic undertone in them anyway. But if you enjoy action adventure, then choose something that both of you are going to enjoy, whatever that might be. So it doesn't have to be one of the movies that are typically considered romantic. This is your movie night, so make it if you go to the show, not all of the movies you're going to watch are going to be romantic movies. However, you're going to enjoy that movie night, right? So, the really cool thing is most movies are available either to rent or, without having to actually physically rent them, rent them online. Or with all the apps and everything, you can search around and find just about almost every movie. Now, one that I found out you cannot easily access that is one of my very favorites is French Kiss with Meg Ryan. That is such a cute, cute movie. But And I actually have it on, I think it's VHS. It's either VHS, I may have it on DVD. Anyway, I have that movie. But I went looking for it because I was kind of going to use it as an example for one of the theme nights. And I realized it's just not easily accessible for some reason on streaming. Not sure why. But anyway, so turn your lights on, start your soft music before the movie starts, and then make sure you set your drinks and snacks out. You don't want to do that too far ahead because of, insects and stuff. So you want to do that right before you start. But you do want to add a handwritten note, to your spouse that you're working with. And then put your phones away. Now, I am also one that's very realistic to know that when you have children that may be somewhere else, or you have parents that may need you, if you have a job that you just can't, it's unrealistic to say you can just turn your phone off and not be concerned about anybody. So an idea is you can always put, if you have a smartwatch, put your smartwatch on so you can glance down and see if it's something urgent without it really interrupting with a ringer. You can put it on vibrate or something where it just vibrates you, or put your phone on vibrate or something like that. So you have to work around with things and make sure that you're not missing emergency calls. We have to be realistic. Most of us are parents, or like I said, we have parents that maybe are elderly and maybe need us, and, we just live in that world today. So I'm not going to say put them in a basket and forget about it for 4 or 5 hours. That's just not what is doable for most of us. Okay, so here are some lighting and safety tips for your movie night. You want to do a quick safety check. Warm perimeter string lights are one of the ways that you can light. You can do flameless candles and lanterns. You want to make sure that you have protected outdoor rated connections. You want to make sure you route your cords along edges so that you're not tripping on them. And then you want to make sure your projector has plenty of ventilation. And you want to keep any loose fabric away from heat, whether it be, the plug-in where it plugs, or whether it is the lights themselves, okay? And then, so a quick safety check is all lights and cords are outdoor rated, cords are secured and out of the walkways, connections are protected from moisture, projector has clear airflow and stable placement, and loose fabrics are away from heat sources. You can dim any nearby bright lights and let the screen be the star of the night. And a best practice is, if you have it, test your setup before dark, keep a blanket for temperature changes, and have a fire extinguisher or a hose nearby as well, because you just never know what's going to happen, and we want you to be safe always. Okay, so let's review our movie night layers. So you've got your pop-up canopy, your floor foundation, your sidewall sheets or curtains, your screen placement, your compact smart projector, your seating and back support, your pillows and shared blanket, your warm lights, your snacks and drinks, and your chosen movie and music. So here are a few ways you can make it feel a little bit more like a date. Sharing one blanket, 2 favorite drinks, and unless you're doing the traditional popcorn and a movie kind of theme, then I don't drink, personally, alcoholic beverages. That's just my thing. But I love fancy glasses. So I'll put juices in the glasses. You know, I make a non-alcoholic sangria. You can do non-alcoholic other mixed drinks that are non-alcoholic. Or if you do want wine or whatever your preference is, it could be sweet tea and served in a pretty glass, and all things are great in a pretty glass. So drag out your pretty glasses and use them. Don't leave them in a china cabinet where you never use them. Now, if you use your fine china and stuff all the time, then probably for outside, I would go with the not fine china for outside. But you can always invest in 2 little cheap dollar store, you know, pedestal glasses and stemware, and have those just for your romantic survival kit. The handwritten notes are always just a cool thing, and that's something you can collect and keep in a little scrapbook to help you remember your evening together. Playing music before the movie, you can set the mood and the tone. And then again, we talked about putting the phones away, or being committed to more intentional attention to one another. Excuse me. You can also save your dessert for later. So you can always run in and pull out something special for dessert. Pause the movie and then have a little bathroom break or something, and then pull out your dessert. Now, if you need help choosing the movie or the setting for the mood or anything like that, the Everyday Romantic Playbook helps you keep the ideas coming. This is our playbook. The Date Your Spouse Again playbook. If you're not married, this is still a great playbook for you, because you can use it with whomever your special someone is. It's just, there are a lot of things to help with everyday romance and helping married couples reconnect. But the ideas are definitely can be used for anybody. So don't be afraid of the subtitle at all. And so inside the playbook, you get date ideas for every season, romantic rendezvous. Basically, it extends and helps you actually build the date with a lot more detail than my videos go into. There's also thoughtful gift ideas, movie and music inspiration that helps you set the mood, mini excursions to spark connection, and reconnection tools to keep you close. So when you want more than one great night, the playbook helps you keep that romance going. So I hope you'll check it out. So let an ordinary space become your little escape. Date night does not have to be complicated. Start with what you have, make the space feel intentional, choose something you will both enjoy, then slow down together. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that you'll definitely subscribe to the channel. Be sure and check out the Romantic Oasis video that's also on the channel and all our other channels, because all of our other videos, because we're going to be adding lots more. And be sure and check out the playbook. And until next time, may all your days and nights be filled with romance.